Please tell our audience a little bit about your journey when you were diagnosed with autism and how you came to create the site improveyoursocialskills.com.
Yeah, so growing up, I was just incredibly awkward. I struggled socially in all sorts of ways. I felt in a lot of ways like going to school was like going to a battleground where everybody else was on the other army. I just didn't know how to interact with people. I didn't know how to make friends. I didn't know how to diffuse bullies. I didn't know how to do all of it. And so I just really, really struggled with any time that I had to interact with another person, which is most of the time. My parents are wonderful parents. They were very supportive of me, and eventually realized that there was something a little bit different about me. So when I was 13, right before starting high school, they took me to a psychologist that specialized in Asperger's syndrome, and she diagnosed me with Asperger's. I didn't really know that that's what was being tested. I thought it was an intelligence test, and I was like, I hope I'm doing a good job. But she came back with a diagnosis, and that was a huge life-changing moment for me, because up to that point, I didn't understand why I was struggling. Like, I knew that I would have meltdowns in restaurants when the noise around me would get too much, but I didn't have the language to say, oh, I'm having a sensory overload. I need to get to a calmer place. I knew that I was not able to interact with people well, but I didn't have the language to understand, oh, I'm missing their social cues. I need to work harder to learn their social cues. And so this was a really life-changing event for me in a very positive way. I remember most significantly that my psychologist gave me a list of social skills that people with Asperger's lack. And I took that as my to-do list. And so I took that list and I'm like, okay, let me make a plan of attack for learning each one of these skills. So when you see that, like, okay, people with Asperger's lack ability in conversation, I went and I bought 10 books on conversation, and I read through all of them, and I went out and I tried to practice what I had learned, and I would get feedback from my friends and my parents, and over time I got a lot better, to the point where I feel like many of the social challenges of Asperger's I've overcome. And so a couple of years ago, actually in 2011, a year after I graduated from college, I had the thought that maybe what I had learned I could teach to other people, because I felt like I really had to build my knowledge of social skills from the ground up. And so I felt like I could also explain it from the ground up. And so I started writing down my thoughts. I started writing down my advice. And I just wrote for all of 2011. And then on January 1st, 2012, I launched improveyoursocialskills.com. I didn't really know what kind of reaction it would get. But now, just a couple of years later, I've had over 500,000 people visit the site. And I've had all of this feedback from people all around the world that's letting me know that the site has helped them, that it's encouraged them, that it's given them sort of hope that they can sort of overcome a lot of their awkwardness and find the relationships that give life so much meaning.
Well, it's remarkable, and we want to encourage people to go to improveyoursocialskills.com to check that out.